Hello, I'm Drake. Welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real, metaphysical, and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible results in your life. This week, we're going to cover meditation hurdles and some tips and tricks that you can use to get over them. Okay, do you ever have trouble meditating? Have you tried to start a meditation practice and you just can't quite get that meditative state you keep hearing about? Well, believe it or not, teaching my meditation class and just doing this in general, I get a lot of emails exactly on this question. Today we're going to cover the most common meditation hurdles I'm asked about almost once a week. Now, for years I have been teaching metaphysical classes, and I've always believed that meditation is the foundation of magical practice. Because it teaches you focus, it teaches you visualization, it teaches you determination, it teaches you patience. And that focus, it feeds into building and strengthening your will. Everything that meditation does for you, everything it builds and strengthens, carries over to every other aspect of magic you will do in one way or another. So with that said, what are these hurdles? Well, the first one has to be hands down, the one I get the most. And I can't quiet my mind. I can't reach the no mind state. I can't blank my mind. I can't think of nothing. I can't reach a point of nothingness. They phrase it different ways, but it always comes down to the same. And honestly, I have to say that's because this particular aspect of meditation has not been communicated well and has been built up due to mostly Hollywood. And because of that, there is a great misunderstanding to it, and we are pursuing the wrong thing. So what is that wrong thing we're focusing on? It's absolutely nothing. That's the problem. When you sit down to meditate, yes, it's true. You want to empty your thoughts. You want to clear your mind. Well, if you think about that, when you sit down to do anything, you take a couple breaths, you clear your thoughts, and then you focus on what you're doing. Honestly, even when you're driving your car, you have to still focus on what you're doing. Your focus is still where you're at, what you're doing. I'm starting to sound like Yoda here. So, here's what I tell my students to do. When you sit down to meditate, take a few breaths. Try to relax. Clear your mind of the stresses of the day, anything that's distracting you, your bills, whatever it is that might be distracting to you. And then pick something to focus on. And normally I tell them, if you don't have a subject, a question, something you're seeking answers on in meditation, let's say you're just wanting to sit down, relax in your meditation, and relaxation is your ultimate goal, then focus on your breathing. It's as easy as that. And I say deep breathing's a great one. I know a lot of people don't like to count, so deep breathing's perfect for this because you focus on taking those full deep breaths, filling your lungs up all the way, and then breathing out fully. That is enough of a focus to accomplish a meditative state. And because your mind is focused on your breathing, it prevents all the random garbage just assailing your mind. Now, I say it prevents it. When I say it prevents it, I'm saying we're turning off the garden hose or fire hose like thought process. However, like a slow stream, thoughts will come to you. And this is important. This is the second part of where people try to clear their mind that they run into problems. Because they think their mind is supposed to stay clear and blank the whole time they're meditating. And I'll be honest, that defeats the point. Because when you're meditating, when you're relaxing, you're connecting to everything. This is when inspiration comes to us. This is when the universe can speak to us. Especially when you're not asking or seeking a specific question, this is a time for the universe and the multiverse to communicate directly to you if it has something to say. Now you're quiet. You finally shut up. It's going to try and tell you something. And more often than not, what happens is these thoughts drift in, and we're just, no, we have to stay no thoughts at all. So we're shutting everything out. We're not listening. We're trying to stay completely thoughtless. And we're not supposed to do that. Yes, a random thought will drift by. Okay, it's about that scratch you got on your car. Well, that's not really important. Push that one aside. Acknowledge it and push it away. That's the key. Don't just try to keep your mind blank. When something comes by, acknowledge it, recognize it, push it away. Now, if a thought or question drifts by that, I don't know, it's not like a scratch on your car, but it interests you. You may not see its relevance. This could actually be the universe speaking to you. So you want to, if it does interest you, grab onto that thought. Now shift your focus from your breath to that thought and focus in on that and explore that thought and see where it goes. Now, if you find out it's going down a rabbit trail that's not really leading anywhere, now you push that aside and you continue to meditate. And what's going to happen here is either A, you're going to have a good, relaxing, meditative practice and session, or you will receive some kind of insight or guidance in the just for meditating that you didn't even plan on getting. Now, let's say you do have a question. Let's say you're trying to solve a problem in your magic or in your life and you're looking for guidance. Well, focus on that exact question when you get down to meditate. Start focusing on your breathing. Do that for, I usually say, a minute. And then shift your focus to the direct question. And keep your focus on that question. Now, the thoughts and stuff that drift in are most likely going to be concerning that question. Ideals, contemplations, perhaps some advice. You'd be surprised what will come in and drift in while you're doing that. Again, though, you will have random thoughts that drift in that do not pertain to the question. But by having this focus, it allows you to clear your mind of everything else and focus on the meditation. Or in this case, the question. And that's the part Hollywood has just bleached out of meditation. They've put so much focus on that empty mind concept that they forgot there is a focus and there is a reason for that meditation. And I'll be honest, I've seen a lot of meditation classes not really point this out and teach it. And in our meditation class that we did, we tried to make sure that the ideal of the focus and everything was really in there. I can't remember if we filmed a section like this where we pointed out, this is a blockage, this is a hurdle, this is this, but I'm actually going to go back now and check that. We may have to add that. But we did make sure it was set up in a way that this is communicated. So if you're following along with it, you're never going to run into this hurdle, hopefully. But of course, all my students can contact me at any point, so we could have cleared that up. Now, okay, so we've addressed the clear mind concept and how you're not supposed to have a blank mind. You're supposed to sit down and you're supposed to focus on something, and that clears the rest of your mind because all of your thought and focus is on that. It's that tunnel vision, laser vision. And in fact, most people experience this meditative state without knowing it. How many of us have been doing something and time just slipped away? We don't even know what happened. In fact, I hear this often with people who are driving. They drive a way home that they know in and out. They don't even have to think about it. And they remember getting in their car. They remember starting the journey. Next thing they know, they're in the driveway. Tunnel vision. Your focus was perfect and you hit that meditative state. I don't recommend doing it while driving because that's a scary and possibly dangerous thing. But that's just an example. Okay, so what's the next hurdle I get questions about? Hands down, the number two biggest meditation hurdle question I get is I can't meditate. I have no time, no place where I can find a quiet, undisturbed place to meditate. Now, this one I get largely from parents, but I also get it from people with roommates. And yes, it can be hard to find time to meditate, and it can be hard to find silence. In fact, if you've watched this channel for any time, more than 5 videos, there's a good chance you know that just filming these videos, I am constantly fighting jet noise because of where I live. Well, that jet noise is just the first of many, 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 many noisy things in my neighborhood. Right here outside my office window is a bus stop for kids. Them and their parents are screaming loudly early in the morning and in the afternoon. There's no way. I've tried to drown it out. Even with my radio blaring, I can't drown them out. Cars, same thing. Apparently there is a massive amount of people here who love loud cars. And they go through all hours of the night. Yes, my neighborhood's noisy. It has its advantages that keeps me here. I know I could move, but it has advantages that, for me at least, other than when I'm filming, it outweighs the others. So silence is not something I can guarantee ever. Even if I could, there's other aspects of the house and everything that still is not going to let me guarantee that silence. So what do? Well, the answer is really simple. You don't need the silence. In fact, a lot of meditation's built around the exact opposite. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure where meditation and silence truly got linked. And, I mean, think about it. Some of your best meditations are done with, like, drumming and other types of music. And, again, in our meditation course, we supplied a lot of music and drumming for people to utilize. And if you have a noisy household, using a drumming track or a musical track is a wonderful way to put in some headphones and block it out. Another thing is you can actually utilize that sound as part of your focus. You can focus on your breathing to the point where you're literally focusing on the breathing or the question with the intent of ignoring the sound around you. It again helps to build that focus. If you're truly wanting to milk everything you can out of your meditation, you need to learn to be able to focus to the point where you can actually forego distractions. So in this case, I'd say, hey, those little toddlers running around screaming, they're actually kind of helpful. But that said, you got to kind of get to that point. So to build up to that point, I would say don't train yourself to meditate in complete silence. Use something, some kind of a background noise, so you're used to meditating with that background noise. And again, I normally recommend sounds of nature or drumming. And in our meditation course, I think we did a thunderstorm. I know we did running water because I had to stand in a stream with the camera underwater. That was not a fun one to get, but it came out sounding great. And we did do drumming, and it's a drumming beat that we did hear ourselves, and it's recorded. It sounded great. So we supplied plenty of background noises. And honestly, my theory, and that's all this is here, is a theory on why we got to the point where people think you need that silence, is because a lot of meditation was done in solitude out in nature. And a lot of modern society really truly thinks it's silent in nature because we don't have stereos and boom boxes and computers and movies and television. However, take any of those people into the woods and leave them by themselves. They will become paranoid of every sound they hear. Because if you've spent any time in the woods just sitting peacefully, you can start to hear the wind. You hear the leaves rustle. You can hear the birds. You can hear the squirrels. You can hear the bugs moving. All these little different sounds that are nature. It's a massive chorus. You're constantly being bombarded by sounds. So the concept of silence is insane in that environment, really. In fact, the old meditation style, sitting out, it was all about going out and sitting out in nature. And many people believe that the point was that you're getting so assaulted, all your senses are being overwhelmed with sounds and smells, that helped to trigger the trance state and the altered states. And from practicing this myself when I go camping, I honestly would have to agree with that. There's just something about it. It just takes over. It overloads your senses and just slingshots you into a trance state that you can't duplicate in a home environment. You really can't. You have to go to an alien environment to truly get the best out of that. So that is the second hurdle that we have the most emails about. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the third and final one that I get the most. Honestly, I get a lot of these. These are the three that I probably get 80% of the time, so we're covering those. And the video's already getting long. We may have to do a part 2 to this. We'll see. But the third one is, I don't have a place to meditate, or I don't have the time. And honestly, I put these two together because really when you think about it, when you get down to it, the solution is the same. So you got to make a place to meditate and you got to find the time. Some of you who follow this channel may already know where I'm going to find the time. Who here likes to do dishes? Raise your hand. I'll be honest, I don't think there's any hands up. I ain't seeing any. Mine ain't up. I hate it. Here's the thing. Most adults, I know there's a few who parents still do their dishes, but most adults, I like to believe, are self-sufficient enough that they do dishes. So, with that said, you do dishes long enough, you don't think about it. You know exactly how you do the dishes. It's a process. You don't have to think about it. It's like brushing your teeth. You just go and do it. Or me in the morning making coffee. There's no thought process. I wake up like a zombie and I go make my coffee. There is no thought process until the coffee hits me. During these activities where we're moving around, we're accomplishing something, but we're not having to think about it, this is a great time for what's known as movement meditation. Most people, if they've heard of movement meditation, they know it primarily from yoga. Because yoga, there are many forms of yoga meditation where you're moving. So, guys, you can do this at the gym while you're working out. You can meditate. You can do this while doing dishes, vacuuming. Honestly, if I'm in a pinch for meditation, I do it with my housework. And, well, okay, truly, unless somebody's there talking to me, if I'm doing housework, I'm meditating because I hate housework, but I enjoy meditation. So, this is a point where we can put in meditation into an activity that we don't have to think about doing. How many people's ever gone for a walk to relax or calm down? Me, I've done it. I have 3 older siblings. Believe me, I have gotten royally pissed, and I have had to get up and walk out because I needed to calm down. I needed to relax, unwind. Do these sound familiar? They kind of sound like meditating. Well, walking and clearing your head is a form of movement meditation. A lot of runners, they find, I've heard runners say it's relaxing. It calms them down. It's sort of meditative. I've actually heard them describe it that way. Even though if you ask them, they'll tell you they don't meditate. And the truth is, they are meditating. It's not meditative-like. You are doing movement meditation. And movement meditation is one of my favorites because it allows you to slip a meditation in there and get something else done. I do this a lot when I mow the grass. If you like being outside in the sun, that's a great time to do it because you're outside, you're doing something. I know a lot of guys who actually do this when they work on their car because it's an older model car. They're just always out there tinkering with it. And they know enough about mechanics that they're not really thinking. It's just second nature to them. So going out and tinkering with that car is kind of a meditative thing. Many woodworkers, same thing. They're out there working with the wood, and even though they may have an idea what they're doing with the wood and where they're going with it, they're not really having to think about it, so the whole process becomes meditative. So if you're having trouble finding that place to meditate or time, consider using movement meditation to take a mundane, boring task and use it to meditate. Now, in our cleansing video, we talked about water cleansing and how you can do a grounding and cleansing ritual in the shower. Well, honestly, if you want to, you can go ahead and turn that shower into a meditation time as well. For me, another great time that I love to meditate is when I'm shaving. I don't know what it is. That's just such a relaxing thing for me. I know for those of you in the military, you probably despise shaving because you have to do it 2 or 3 times a day if you have a bad 5 o'clock shadow. But for me, I'm not military, but I do try to keep a clean shave. And there's just something nice about getting out of a hot shower and taking the time to do a good shave. I don't know what it is. And I like to take that time and clear my head, focus on questions I may have, just relax and unwind and just enjoy it. It's my me time, if you will. So these are times when I squeeze in little meditations, and there are days when these are the only meditations I get. So yeah, if you're having trouble finding a place to meditate or a time, movement meditation is a key point that you can squeeze it in no problem. Now, if you have one of those lifestyles where you're like, I can't find a place to do anything like that, then my question is, when are you showering, when are you doing your laundry, and when are you doing your dishes? Those are 3 things I think everyone has to do, unless you have enough money to hire a maid. But if you have the money to hire a maid, then we're probably going to need to talk, because I still think we can find you 5 to 10 minutes to meditate in a day. Seriously. Because you hired a maid to make more time for yourself. So, yeah, time's there somewhere. But I will share this. One of the most interesting meditations I've heard of. It falls sort of in the category of movement meditation. I think we agreed to call it activity meditation for this guy. He was playing Minecraft. He didn't have to think about it. He would just sit down, he had the controller, he'd get that tunnel vision, he's just plucking away at the game, and he'd drop into that meditative state, and that's where he's doing his meditation. So, hey, if it works, it works. We can find the time. So if you're having trouble, look into movement meditation to help you out with those things. I hope these 3 tips help you overcome your meditation hurdles. By all means, jump over to the Working Dragon Mystic School of Magic. I'll make sure there's a link below. We already have our beginner to advanced meditation course up on the school, and we're working on the next course. Actually, next 2 courses. And both of those should be up soon, one before Christmas. And feel free to check that out if you're interested in more in-depth classes on meditation. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Drop us a comment to say hello. It really helps out the channel. We try to release new videos twice a week right now. Anyways, I'm Drake, and this has been Working Dragon Mystic. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.